Chapter 3, Karma Yoga. So in the second chapter, Krishna has summarized everything, all the instructions in the entire Bhagavad Gita. And now he's going to go into more details based on questions that Arjuna asks. So Arjuna is now first confused because Krishna spoke about karma and buddhi, and Arjuna assumed that when Krishna used the word buddhi yoga, he thought that Krishna was talking about Gnana Yoga. Krishna was not talking about Gnana Yoga. Krishna was talking about something else. So Arjuna is now confused, and so he is asking for clarification. Arjuna said, "Oh Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruity work?" So he's just thinking because buddhi is intelligence. So he equated intelligence to knowledge, gnana. And he said gnana is better than karma, which is fruity work. So when you're talking about buddhi, which is gnana, which is better than fruity work, which is better than karma, then why should I do this karma of fighting? So that was his confusion. So my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Equivocal means it seems like you're saying one thing, you're saying two different things. I'm confused. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Again, in the second chapter also, Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. Yat shreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me. Now again he's saying, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Supreme Law Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, Anagha, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Now Krishna is saying he's already explained. Might not be very easy for us to figure out, but Krishna is saying I've already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. Again, Srila Prabhupada is not discussing karma as such. So, the verse is Lokesmin Vividha Nishta Pura Prokta Mayanaga Gnana Yogena Karma Yogena. Now, though Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga, Prabhupada translates it as by linking process of devotion. But in the translation, he says by devotional service. Now, so Prabhupada's intention is that whatever work is being done has to be done only for the pleasure of Krishna. That is why he doesn't classify it as Karma Yoga. I've told this before also. Difference between Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is that in Karma Yoga, there's a propensity to do work. Somebody likes to do work and hence he does work. But in Bhakti Yoga, somebody might do work just because it is required as part of the devotion, as part of the devotional life that is living. And he doesn't have any, he doesn't have any propensity to do work. In the sense, he doesn't enjoy doing his work. He just does his work because, some maintenance has to happen. And he's not excited about the salary, when salary comes, and then he's not excited about spending that money, or he's not excited about anything connected to work. Like, for example, okay, I got a promotion, or okay, this technology is great, that problem was good. He's not like kicked about all these things. He's just saying, okay, I need to work because I need to maintain my family, because that is my current dharma. And this is also for those people who cannot give up their dharma, right? Who have not still come to the stage of sarva dharman parityaja. They're saying, okay, I feel obliged to take care of my duties. So I need to work, and that's it. I work. But there's nothing at all. No desire to do work. Just doing work as a matter of maintenance, which is just part of bhakti. That's all. So that is why Prabhupada translates that as devotional service. Though technically devotional service only means direct devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. But in some sense, some associated associated work or services is also considered devotional service. For example, now if we go to shop to bring groceries for cooking, now that's not directly Shravanam Kirtanam, but it's associated, right? Associated services. So like that. So in that way, this earning Lakshmi becomes like an associated service. But the whole reason that the devotee is working is just to please Krishna, just to carry on his devotional activities, and hence Prabhupada is translating it as devotional service, and a lot of scholars actually they question this, saying that how can Prabhupada do this? He's doing his own interpretation, they say. Karma Yoga, Krishna is saying Karma Yoga, but Prabhupada is translating a devotional service. It should have been translated as Karma Yoga, work done in devotion. Now, it's pretty much I mean, Prabhupada knows what Krishna is wanting from Arjuna. Krishna is wanting Arjuna to fight for his pleasure. And that is Karma Yoga. That's also Bhakti Yoga, because when there is no propensity to do karma. Arjuna is not wanting to do karma because he likes to, fight, and he just now he's going to do karma because, okay, it's going to please Krishna, which becomes devotion. So this one is that we should not have any desire to work, but we should just do it as a matter of our duty. Then it just becomes like an associated part of direct devotional service. Yeah, so here he's saying that, okay, some are inclined to jnana, some are inclined and others, they realize the self by devotional service, and they work in devotional service. And there is work also involved in devotional service. Unlike in Gnana Marg, where there is no work. And Krishna is saying that if you just abstain from work, you can't achieve freedom from reaction. So somebody says, okay, working karma is the result of karma phala, so I will stop karma. So Krishna is saying, no, if you don't do karma, that also is karma. If you don't do work, not doing work is also work. So you're not going to achieve freedom from reaction, because that not doing work is also going to bring you some reactions. So if in case you had to do work, you didn't do work, that becomes papa, right? So like this, so it will result in reaction. So don't think that if you don't work, that you're going to be free from reaction, because Arjuna was thinking that I'm not going to fight, because fighting is going to result in papa. Krishna is saying if you don't fight, it will result in papa. Also, not by renunciation alone can one attain perfection, or just because I've given up everything. It's not that is sufficient for one to attain perfection. So the important thing here is that we should understand that to attain perfection means not just renunciation, but actually devotion. And renunciation comes as a side effect. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam. Vairagyam will come automatically. Has to come. If you're practicing the process of devotion properly, and you're engaged and you're in the right association, renunciation will automatically come. Don't have to do extra endeavor for that. But without devotion, if somebody just gives up, which is the Gnana Marga, it's not sufficient to attain perfection. They can fall down, and it's a very difficult process. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. So no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So you're talking about not doing anything and just sitting, the Gnana process. It's very difficult because everybody is acting helplessly. Nahi kashtit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krit karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakriti jair gunai. So kashtit kshanamapi, not even for a moment, jatu tishtati akarma krit. Without doing any karma, one cannot sit even for a moment. Why? Because karyate hyavasha karma, avashaha. Avasha means like forced, helplessly. He has to do karma. Why? Because everything is being driven by the modes, prakriti jair gunaihi. So you can't talk about just keeping quiet or not doing work because you're going to be forced to do work. Because everybody is helplessly being driven by the modes in the conditioned state. Right. So Krishna is saying in the conditioned state, simply don't refrain from work. That's not going to help because you won't be able to do that. It's better you engage in devotion. One who restrains senses of action but whose mind dwells on the sense object certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Mityachara sauchate. So he's not doing any action, but his mind dwells on the sense objects. He's not cooking, but he wants to eat, whatever, palak paneer or whatever, right? So he's restraining his senses. He's saying, no, I'm not going to cook. All this is Maya. But his mind is still dwelling on the sense object. So he's a pretender. He's cheating himself and others. So Krishna is clearly saying this Gnana Yoga Marga is not good. It's not a good process. But then these Gnanis, they don't want to take this instruction from Krishna here in this chapter. They'll interpret this in their own way to suit their requirement. But Krishna is very specifically, clearly saying that no use. You will end up anyway doing some work and you will end up doing some nonsense. On the other hand, a sincere person, he is sincere, meaning he knows that, okay, I'm still being driven by the modes. I have attraction to so many sense objects. But I know that that's not going to give me Krishna. So I'm sincere. I want to get over this. So he's trying. He tries to control the active senses by mind and begins Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness. Bhakti Yoga for us. Without attachment. He is by far superior. So again, don't get confused here. Wherever Prabhupada is talking about Karma Yoga, it just means working in devotion. Meaning not with a desire to earn money, not with a desire for growth, not with a desire for working in different technologies, not with a desire of anything connected with that karma, but just for maintenance. That's what Prabhupada wants here. That's what his expectation is from devotees. And so we should hear this and we should understand that, okay, this is what Prabhupada is expecting. Otherwise, what is the point in reading Bhagavad Gita? Isn't it? So Krishna is saying somebody has to try to control the active senses by the mind. Now, what does this mean? Like 4 regulative principles. We have to follow the 4 regulative principles or whatever principles that have been laid out. Don't eat non-prasadam. You have to control because senses are active, but then we have to control. And we have to engage in work so that the senses can become engaged, but for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. And he's saying that is by far superior than not working. So work for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, even though it might not be direct devotional service. And then he's saying perform your prescribed duty. For doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. So if somebody has to eat, somebody has to do some work. Either he has to do Madhukari, he has to go and beg, or he has to get money and get the required ingredients and cook and eat. So even to just maintain the physical body, one has to work, has to do some kind of work. So Krishna is saying, considering Arjuna's position, he's saying, no, you have not reached that stage where you can give up everything and go begging. And it's not right for you because I don't want you to do that. Though Arjuna was saying, no, I'm going to go begging. Krishna didn't want his devotee to do that because he was wanting Arjuna to set an example of how one has to do their duties in Krishna consciousness. If a person like Arjuna who has to maintain law and order, if he gives up his work, then what will happen? Chaos. So there are certain roles in the running of a society which are very, very mandatory. For example, if somebody says like nobody is going to become a doctor, for example, right? Then the whole society will perish, right? Similarly, somebody for protection, like this. So for such people, Krishna is saying, no, you do your duty, don't be attached to work, but do your duty, because that's also a service to Krishna, because it is required for running Krishna's society. Krishna's, the society in the material world. And Krishna needs certain devotees to do that also. It's not that everybody needs to do that, but those who still have some propensity to work, they might take up these kind of services which are directly connected with, pleasing Guru and Krishna. So perform your prescribed duty. So you have to know your duty. If you're a Kshatriya, be a Kshatriya. If you're a Brahmana, you have to teach people that, what is the goal of life, what is Brahman. So don't give up your duty and then go to the forest. Then who is going to teach people? Then samskaras have to be done. Who is going to do that? So it's not that everybody is being asked to give up their work. Certain works are very, and the qualification also to give up work is very, very high. Meaning, unless somebody is so renounced by previous, activities either in bhakti or other associated process, that he actually doesn't have any interest in doing work. And more than not having any interest in doing work, he has so much of interest in doing bhakti all the time that he doesn't want to waste his time doing any other work, and it doesn't matter to him whether, what will happen with that, whether he's going to be able to maintain himself or not. Very exalted state. Such people can give up work. Because artificially, like again, Krishna is saying, don't artificially give up work. You want to work, you work. But work in a devotional mood. So, general instruction for most devotees is do your prescribed duty without attachment and use that whole Lakshmi for Krishna's service, for pleasing Guru and Krishna. That's what is a general recommendation. That is the reason why Prabhupada is using the word Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga here. Now I'm translating it as devotional service. Okay. So how should that work be done? Prescribed duty, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. So you have to do work as a sacrifice for Vishnu, which means as an offering to Vishnu. Otherwise, work causes bondage. If it is not being done as a sacrifice for Vishnu, then it's being done for your own sense gratification. Then it creates bondage. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So this is the key. And this also becomes devotion if we do our work for his satisfaction. And what does this mean, working for his satisfaction? Not working, not overworking, not over endeavoring. Right? Like Rupa Goswami gives guidance in Upadeshamrita. Not like, slogging. Just doing work. Okay, being paid. I'm expected to work for whatever. Of course, expected to work is wrong, this one, because employers want employees to work round the clock. If somebody wants to do that, they will encourage them to do that. Right? So we have to just do as much as is required. And so what should our criteria be while working is to make sure that we have enough time to do bhakti. Dharma swanushtita pumsam, what is that? No utpadayad yadi ratim samaye vahi kevalam. So work, if it doesn't give you time to develop some attraction towards Krishna Katha, then that work is samaye vahi kevalam. Then it's a waste of time. So we should not waste our time working. We should make sure that we're just working we are giving as much time for our work, only as much as is required, and rest of our time is engaged in serious devotion. That's how work has to be done. And in the beginning only Bhagavatam says that if one is not engaged in that kind of work, then it's not beneficial. And a person who is surrendered to Krishna, Sarvadharman Parityaja, he does Anukulis Sankalpa Pratikulis Avarjanam. So he gives up that kind of a work, which is just like engage him like, work requires so much intensity and so much time and energy that he's not able to do his bhakti at all. There's so many devotees who say that, they don't even have they have maybe just enough time to chant their rounds, and that too, It will be like some rounds in the morning, most of the rounds in the night before sleeping, which is as good as not doing. Because what will be our consciousness at the end of the day? Our mind is like fully swamped with material thoughts about work, and our energy is drained. What chanting will we do at the end of the day? So such people have to really seriously think what is important for them. Is Krishna important? Is devotion is important, or their career? And of course, then when this question comes, normally people devotees answer like this, saying that no, obviously Krishna is important for me, but I also have to take care of my family and future requirements. So then there's lack of faith in Krishna and anxiety about the future. And so people think that the only solution is to work hard, which means that they forget the basic principle of karma, which is that you will get whatever you're destined to get, which is again incomplete or, acceptance of the instructions in Bhagavad Gita. So we have to perform our work for his satisfaction, meaning just as much as is required for maintenance of the family, and use the rest of the Lakshmi, like we've already discussed, how much ever is possible in Krishna's service, etc., etc. Otherwise, anyway, if of course, if karma is done, even as karma yoga, meaning just like officially, just okay, I've done work, I'm giving, some 1% to Krishna every month, that's all. Right? No, even if it is done that way, it will save devotees. It will save those jivas. Otherwise, if you are only working for our own sense gratification, then it will result in bondage. So, we have to do yagnarthat karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhanat. Yagnarthat. Yagna is Vishnu. Yagnarthat means for the sake of Vishnu or for his pleasure. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yagna, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation." So, when we work for the pleasure of Krishna, that is going to bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. Now, this also has to be noted. If we are working for the pleasure of Krishna, then we don't have to be worried about the future, because Krishna is saying here that it will give you everything desirable for living happily, which might not even directly devotional also. It might be some excess money, something else. Maybe somebody wants to travel, they get an opportunity to travel. Whatever Jiva is desiring, that will be fulfilled. Of course, not very gross ones which are going to, which are sinful and so on and so forth. But yeah. And also it will bring one to the path of liberation. So this is the beauty of offering the results of work to Krishna. Is that one not only remains happy, lives happily, and also he comes to the platform of Mukti and then Shuddha Bhakti and so on. So this is the art of work. This is how one has to work. So I'll pause here because the next few verses are on demigod worship. So is there any question connected to whatever I've discussed? No questions? All clear? Should I ask a question? Okay, so somebody can summarize what should be our mood in working, certain do's and don'ts. Okay, so I'm allowed to call out people now. Because everybody said that they've understood. So if you understood, then you should be able to answer this question, because this is what I've just discussed. In what is the mood of working for a devotee? In what mood should he work? And what are certain do's and don'ts? You can answer one part of this question also, the first part. How should a devotee work? Okay, Shashank Prabhu is saying any work performed should be for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna, brothers.
Hmm.
We should not expect any fruitive action, like, benefits when we work.
What does that mean?
As in, if we are doing any activity, we should not expect the results for self.
Hmm.
Rather, it should be dedicated to Krishna.
Okay.
And we may have to do any material activities as our duties only and no expectation.
Okay. What else? Without expectation should perform our responsibilities. Okay. What if your work is not giving you enough time to do bhakti? What should you do? Hmm?
We should think of how we can make time. Of
Hmm.
course, with the existing work, is that really possible? How do we bring in little more discipline into what we are doing?
Okay.
Maybe we may have to give up that work and pick another work, which is at least with the thought process of that will be favorable and how.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have. So if you're serious about devotion, then you should change your job. Not if possible. Not change job if possible. You have to change job, right? Because yeah, Aruna Mataji saying work for less pay. Whatever it is, look for another job which gives enough time for bhakti. And see, these are signs of surrender. Unfortunately, these topics, actually, I'm so happy that all of you are so clearly, this thing is very clear in your mind. Okay. But you go elsewhere today in ISKCON and ask this question, you will not get this answer. You will just get answers like, somehow we have to manage, Prabhu. It's practical. Life is all about so many practical challenges are there, you have to somehow manage. These are the answers we get, but not what you are all answering so clearly, right? And you should have the heart for it. You should be ready. Yes, okay, this is not helping me do enough devotion, and it's just driving me more and more into material realm. Okay, I'll try to find another job. And I know people who are slogging like 12 hours, 14 hours. They don't have time to read Prabhupada's books. Not even like half an hour they have. It's not healthy. This is not healthy for devotion. And then there are other jobs where people are forced to, attend parties and, somewhat like forced to eat non-prasadam and all. You just give up such jobs. Krishna is there. He will see to it that we are maintained, we are taken care. Because these are all absolutely not conducive for bhakti. Of course, I mean, like I've gone through all this, right? I've been in parties, sitting and just eating food from my dabba, and people, and this so also international, gatherings and all, and people used to be like saying, "What is this? What are you doing?" And you should have the heart to say, "Yes, see, these are my principles." They might not understand devotion, but you can just say, "I don't eat outside food." If somebody comes a little bit more closer and asks little more questions, you could explain, saying that, see, this is what it is. Food affects consciousness, and I don't like to eat food outside. I like food which is cooked, in the right consciousness. Even further, if they are able to understand, say, okay, this is part of my devotional practice. So we can, the same reason could be given in 3 different levels based on the understanding, acceptance of the person who is asking. But we should have the heart to do it. Mm. Mm. And don't bring practicality into devotion. It just means recipe for failure. Of course, some people might have some serious situations in life, where, yeah, some things will become really difficult. Mm. Yeah. So, yeah, so it's important that we be clear about work. I was telling somewhere else saying that companies talk about work-life balance, which basically means that they also understand that work is not life. There's something called life, and that life and this work has to be balanced. And for us, that life is devotional life. So for us, it is work, a devotional life balance. It's a kind of terminology which has come into use, which actually is against the way companies are running. Yeah, the work is not giving you enough time to get a life, to live a life. So we should say, yes, I have my own life, and that life requires this much time, right? And Krishna will take care. See, we have to understand one thing. If we develop faith to follow Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad Gita, that itself brings us mercy. That itself brings us mercy. Because Krishna will be so happy, because he knows that how difficult it is to do things like this in this modern age and time when, everything is topsy-turvy. But still he will say, oh, my devotee is still, in spite of all the challenges, he's wanting to follow my instructions, and he'll be very pleased. So don't hesitate. Of course, then when actual decisions are being made, then you should talk to somebody who's senior to you, who has the required experience, and who also is like-minded. What is like-minded? There are certain devotees who might be more advanced in other ways, but when it comes to work, they think that no, people have to work. No, that's not like-minded, because it looks like they've taken, or because of their own hridaya daurbalyam, weakness of heart, maybe they're not able to accept this instruction from Krishna. Maybe they've accepted other instructions. Then we have to be careful with whom we are whom are we talking to, who's guiding us. I know certain devotees who wanted to, they had done their own homework and they were okay to give up their jobs, and they got seriously discouraged by people saying that no, don't dedicate yourself, you're still so young, what will you do for the rest of your life, how will you manage your family, and this and that and all that. So which means that's not proper guidance. Okay, so it's very important. So which is the reason we should understand Prabhupada is translating this as devotional service, and our previous acharyas had talked about this as karma yoga, for the simple reason that at that time it was all varnashrama, and whatever work a person was doing was always anyway indirectly connected to devotion, because it was all done for the pleasure of Krishna, because following varnashrama is for the pleasure of Krishna. But in Kali Yuga, because this all no varnashrama, everything topsy-turvy, everything ugra, right, sinful, we have to adopt a slightly different approach, and that's the reason Prabhupada is explaining what that approach is. It's not work for enjoyment, not work for pleasing yourself. Just work as a matter of duty, requirement, and use the results for Krishna. Use the results for Krishna. And I've told this before, some result has to be used for Krishna today. Others can be kept, for later use, could be for your daughter's marriage, could be for your early retirement, etc. But doesn't mean that I'm not going to give even 1 rupee today, saying that no, I'm saving all this to come out of my job early. That's again lack of trust in Krishna. Do whatever is required currently, and you can do some savings, depend on Krishna. Mm. Now, okay, this is not a related question. Nakul Prabhu, I'll answer that, but it's not related to what I'm talking. So this is specifically with respect to the work. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody is finding it difficult to accept this? Yeah, okay. I know all the individuals here who are working, at least most of the individuals who are working. And yeah, definitely few of them I know that they are working clearly in that mode. I'm not sure about others. And as long as you are clear yourself, it's fine. And other thing here, before I answer Nakul Prabhu's question, is about prescribed duty. This also requires heart, requires surrender. Saying that if it's not for me to work, then I won't work. If I should not work, I won't work. This is for Mataji's, obviously. If I have a need, inevitable, I know of some devotees whose situations are inevitable and they have to work. Okay, that's fine. But otherwise, not again, not for just, okay, fear of future. We should not work because it's clear that as a Varnashrama, women don't have they don't have to take jobs. But again, practically, maybe somebody is in some situation. But if somebody is working because they want to achieve something in their career, they want to make progress, simple thing, we can achieve only one or the other. We can either achieve something at work or we can do our responsibilities at home, not both. So then we will end up in compromising our duties towards our house. Simple thing, for example, people might, maybe there's no time to cook. Maybe we cook once and keep it in the fridge for 2 days. And yeah, okay, fine. So we'll say, yeah, it's fine. I'm okay eating food cooked 2 days back. But what about Krishna? You offered Krishna only once in 2 days. You offer food to Krishna. Yeah, we need to think about these things. It's not just about what is okay for me. And of course, once there are children, and then it's a different world altogether. And absolutely, it's a full-time job. Bringing up children is a full-time job. So you have to make the call. You have to take the call. Again, this is as sensitive as people working just for growth and economic progress. Same thing, women also working while giving up their home responsibilities. Equally sensitive, equally difficult to deal with. And the response mostly in the rest of ISKCON is it's all practical. We are doing whatever is practical. But that's not what is expected out of us. At least that's not what Prabhupada is saying here. Okay, so that kind of, in some sense, complete discussion of these 10 verses here. So I'm just answer Nakul Prabhu's question, and then we will stop for today, and then we will discuss the rest tomorrow. So Nakul Prabhu's question is, if there is something not good at home, like someone not good in health or something like that, that time sadhana will not be in good mood. We keep thinking about it, how to manage it. So we have to understand that this is the reality of life. That there's something not good at home, at work, whatever. And what is that which affects us is something which we are most emotionally connected with. For some people it's their work, for some people it's their home, for some people it's both. For some people it's something else, and all the time there is something or the other which is troublesome, which is of concern. But this is life. It's going to be like this. And which is why brahmachari life, or when somebody is single, the number of problems that come up are also limited, because maybe it's them or it's their parent/parents. That's all, right? Mostly. that concerns them. But then once there is marriage, then now, say as somebody is single child and 3 people, he's concerned about himself, his father, mother. As soon as he gets married, so there are 4 people plus 2 people coming from the wife's side, so 6 people to be concerned about. Then when there are children, then 7, 8, and so on and so forth. And the requirements increase when for children and aged people. As parents age, challenges increase. As children are small, challenges increase. And this is life. It just keeps going on and on. That's how it's designed, right? Like for some years of your life, your health will be good and your parents' health will be good. After that, you get married, then there are children. Then as children are growing and they come to some age, then your parents have aged. So it's just that cycle that at any point of time, something or the other is always there to bother us. We have to understand, saying that I can't expect a life without any botheration. So what should I do? I should just try to do good sadhana irrespective of what's going on around me. And it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort to do good sadhana. You have to keep trying. Talk to devotees, build a philosophical understanding of the problem and the situation so that even knowledge can help us. Like I keep saying that, some instructions in Bhagavad Gita, you could write them down on a A4 sheet, A4 size sheet, and stick it in front of on your wardrobe or whatever, so that you keep staring at that piece of knowledge every time to remind you, saying that you are feeling bad or being affected by some situation is unreal, because it's all connected with the body, which is all temporary. So we can write down some philosophical instructions from Bhagavad Gita, which can keep reminding us, saying that we don't have to feel affected by this. Dhiras tatra namuhyati. And then keep feeding that to our mind every time, maybe 2 times, 3 times, 10 times in a day, and continue our devotion with utmost sincerity. And then slowly we'll come to the stage where things around us don't affect us. And like I already discussed, this is the stage of liberation. Na sochati na kakshati. And we have to get there, otherwise we're not going to get Krishna. Is that okay? Anything else? Yeah.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, I had just one question with respect to now what you mentioned about life and different things which keeps bothering us at different stage of life. What I have also read is like for men, brahmachari is the best way for a better spiritual advancement, right?
No, nothing like that.
Nothing
So,
like that.
no, it totally depends on the jiva.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously, so I'm openly going to answer this. If all women have to get married, if men don't have sex drive for having a sexual relationship, then they should remain brahmacharis. Because if somebody has a drive for that, has a need for that, then remaining a brahmachari, they will become mithyachara. They'll become pretender, and it will disturb them, and eventually they'll fall. Right? So if somebody has a propensity for these things, then better get married. And that is the way for progress for such a person. For some rare souls who are not attracted by this, the best option is to remain not married. Now, a person who doesn't have the need for this kind of a relationship with a lady should not get married because of family pressure. At the same time, one should get married and take care of their responsibilities and live a devotional life if he is inclined towards these things. It's a very simple gauge or a simple rule to follow. There is no absolute rule. There's nothing like one has to remain a brahmachari, only then he will make progress.
Okay. Understood.
Okay, anything else? Okay, one small doubt. How can we check, verify the sadhana performing is in good state or not? Your consciousness. Whatever sadhana we are doing has to result in Krishna consciousness. The more we are attached to Krishna, the more we are attached to Krishna's service, the less we are attached materially. We are making progress. Okay, anything else? Okay, please note. So all these discussions, this is like a summary of Bhagavad Gita that we are going through. Okay, I suggest that all of you make notes so that you see, we waste a lot of time in revisiting basic topics. There's so many other advanced topics that we have to go to, for which we have to be fixed in the basic topics so that we don't keep coming back with the same doubts. These things should be fixed in our mind. So please fix these things in your mind, write it down, do whatever it takes so that you don't get the same doubts again and again. And I'm saying general principle. So that then you can make progress. Then you will understand, you will make this as a foundation, and then you will start getting into, see, our Krishna consciousness, the way it works is stage by stage, our acceptance, based on our acceptance of the principles of Krishna consciousness, we make progress. So once we have understood how to work, now then we go to the next level of saying that how do I increase my devotion? Then we go to the next level saying that how do I develop now attachment for Krishna, and so on and so forth, right? Like stage by stage, we will start making progress, and then different instructions given by Prabhupada in different, books, etc., start becoming relevant. So if we are not cross stage 1, stage 2 instructions are irrelevant for us because we can't even understand them. And that's the reason devotees read books, but they can't understand everything because they have not come to that stage. So which means that the lower stages have to be over. We have to cross the lower stages, come to higher stage, then many other instructions that Prabhupada is writing will become relevant for us. Till that time, those instructions are irrelevant because we can't understand, because we're not at that stage. Okay, so if somebody wants to make progress, take these instructions to heart, right, and just apply them in your life. Then you will make progress. Then you will come to higher stages of devotion. Okay. Okay, so we'll close here. Any other
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please,
Yeah.
kind request, Prabhuji, please upload these sessions. It's highly difficult for me to write notes in the morning with so many household chores. So I want to listen
Yeah.
again and proper notes.
Yeah, I'm also not. I was traveling, so let me see. If somebody can take up this service, it'll be nice. I have
If
a
you fellow, I can help you in this. Prabhuji.
yeah.
I can take up that.
Okay, so see, basically there are two things. So there's one where there's a Zoom login, and then there is a YouTube login. So there's so those who want to take this up, you can contact me. I'll let you know, because what I'm finding it difficult is to actually do this on a regular basis, and then it accumulates, and then I when I find some times, then one day I just assign some time, and then I somehow manage to upload. Then again, previously I used to be able to do it every day after every session, but somehow I'm just stuck with too many things now. So if Kameshwari Mataji or Vamshi Prabhu, you can, so one of you can take it up.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, so then you can do that on a daily basis after the class. And again, anybody taking this up, don't become like me. As in your work, something else should not pull you away from posting, because that's what we are trying to solve. So if you're clear that you will be able to handle it on a daily basis, irrespective of your work at home, your issues, etc., 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 then let me know. Otherwise there's no point in replacing myself with somebody else who's again not having dedicated time for this on a daily basis. Okay, so please think and message me if you can commit to this, that every lecture will get uploaded on the same day, ideally after the class. Immediately after the class, it takes Zoom takes about half an hour to actually make the recording accessible in the Zoom login. After that, it has to be downloaded, it has to be uploaded, and there's some conditions for uploading in the sense that it has to be in some playlist and all that. So some few instructions I'll have to give. But yeah, so mostly half an hour after the class, you could download the recording and upload into YouTube. Okay, so think and let me know so that it can happen on a daily basis. Okay, so we'll stop here, and yeah, I apologize for not being able to upload every day, but yeah, hopefully somebody can take this up. Okay, so we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samahita Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Koti Vaishnavanta ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'm disconnecting.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji, pranam.
Hare Krishna. Pranam. Okay, I'm disconnecting.